Bonnie Ghani, everyone. This is Professor Rahh, Professor Emeritus, California State University of Long Beach, former city councilman for the city of Compton, former Compton College Board of Trustees, and former Compton Unified School District Board of Trustees. We want to welcome you here to the Conscious Corner. We got in-depth discussions on many issues that we face as African people in the hills of North America, and we want to just speak truth to ourselves, to the people, and to power. And we also want to uplift the people's minds to a sense of consciousness. Malcolm said we have to wake up, clean up, and that's one of the roles of our platform, is to try to get people interested in freeing themselves so they can be themselves, freeing themselves so they can participate in activities that they think are very important to our liberation and our struggle for human dignity and human freedom, as well as specifically African people. We have all kinds of issues as a people, and we have to face them, and we have to speak truth. We have to criticize ourselves and our people when they're wrong, but above all, we keep our eyes on the dominant society that's creating chaos all over the world. So I'm going to start off by asking Brother Rahh, what's going on in Detroit?
Well, brother, the Middle Easterns are up in arms. We got 250,000 here in the state of Michigan, and the largest concentration is right here on the edge of Detroit. Eastbourne is called. Dearborn is a place they white folks try to separate themselves from the Middle Eastern. Now they call it Eastbourne. But Dearborn was a place when I was coming up, you couldn't walk through. The Middle Eastern came through and put a down payment on it. Now they just about own it. So they are not happy with Kamala Harris's lack of vocal support for the Palestinians. And now they're in Lebanon. And the mayor of Dearborn and the mayor of Hamtramck, which is also like the second largest Middle Eastern hub in the Detroit area, have all endorsed another candidate for president outside of Kamala Harris.
And outside of Trump?
Outside of Trump and outside of Kamala, they are not supporting her.
Okay. Well, let me say this. And I support them to be outraged about the overwhelming dedication that Kamala has shown toward Israel, planting a tree and talking about calling the liberation struggle of freeing Palestine a bunch of terrorists and things of this nature. That's a challenge for not only the people in Michigan, but that's a challenge for anybody that has human dignity, because you ask yourself a question. We want to support Kamala, but at what price? Do we give up our dignity watching genocide and still vote for her while she has not shown any empathy or any concern for the over 80,000 Palestinians in Gaza that have been killed, and probably 1 million that have been hurt, and the starvation and the what they call docile bombing of their homes and hospitals and schools. And the majority of the people, women, children, pregnant women, and things of this nature. But also, you have to flip the coin and say, look at the other Arab communities that are not supporting or providing assistance to America and sometimes Israel, to giving them information, letting them use their facilities that help shoot down the bomb, and they're not criticizing them.
The Saudis.
Yeah, they're not criticizing Saudi Arabia. They're not criticizing even Egypt. They're not criticizing, Kuwait, Syria. Not they're not even saying we're gonna cut off the oil that imports. I mean, is money more important than the lives of the people? And that's a challenge, man. I understand their outrage, but I think it's selective, and they want to put all the pressure on the United States, and rightfully. But they also should, at the same time, come out and criticize those Arab and Muslim countries that have not publicly are used there that we know of. We know there's some collaboration, but we're trying to deal with just, hey man, how you sit there and watch your brothers and sisters get wiped out and killed, fighting for just human dignity. I mean, for over 60 years. So that's an issue there. So they can get mad and vote for whoever they want, but at the same time, it should be proportionate with regard to criticizing of other countries. How you feel about that?
Well, this is an ideal time for them, and this is the mayor of Dearborn's words come directly out of his mouth. He said they're going to form a political bloc, and they're going to get the message that if they want their votes, they're going to have to negotiate with them to get them next time around.
Okay, but how do you feel about the war? What do you think about what's going on? Have you looked at it, paid any attention to it?
I have. And the other day I was just listening to Ta-Nehisi Coates and all the criticism he's getting for reporting on the Palestinians' plight in Palestine, and been compared to a terrorist and everything else. There's so much bias. Of course, I haven't been there, but I can take the word of some of our people who have been over there and gone through there and said it's just awful. The conditions are just awful. No access to the water, and they're living right next to it. The structures as far as their sanitary structures, access to food. It's an apartheid from all evidence given by the reporters and stuff that are over there. And the media has shown itself to be completely biased. CNN, CNBC, all of them, ABC, Fox News, they're completely biased. And it's almost as if one entity is running them all.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing that you have such a loyalty, even by America, saying that they will support Israel at all costs, no matter what they do.
Giving them the bombs. Those are American bombs they drop.
Yeah. And intelligence, and as well as, helping them get information from captives through torture. Remember, nobody's even looking into how the Palestinian kids and captives are being treated, from sexual abuse to just torture to get information, and nothing like human intelligence, and the type of torture they're doing, from reports from people that have access to that information is horrendous. From turn them upside down, threatening to cut off their testicles, doing all kind of stuff, maiming and raping them, sodomizing them with instruments, It's a struggle, brother. But
And the
Professor
governments in the
Rahh.
West are looking the other way. How awful is that? They're looking the other way.
well, yeah.
I have a question, Professor Rahh.
What's that?
You were saying some of the surrounding. Were you saying some of the surrounding countries that are actually Islam is not saying anything or assisting?
They're not openly criticizing, and they and some of them are collaborating with America. They
So
say.
do you think that's a fear? That fear of America, if they don't, kind of comply, or if they don't speak out, that's a good thing for them.
That's a part. That may be it, but
yeah,
they traitors.
But that's not like helping them have facilities to help shoot down the missiles, or really the rockets that the people are shooting at Israel that never get through. You see, America got boats over there and other logistic areas in those countries where they're using their facility, that land or that part of the country to help Israel and protect Israel. America, I mean, they said it. They said with our allies and our cooperative people, they got a number of Arab countries that America is working with, but they don't talk to the Palestinians. They're talking to other Arab countries to put pressure on the Palestinians to accept terms that would mean that their struggle was for nothing. In other words, let Israel take the land they want from Gaza, which Gaza, the reason Gaza is so heavily populated is because they ran all the Palestinians off their land and put them in Gaza and using the ocean as a fence. And then they put up gates to let who come in and who come out, what streets they can travel, and all those type of things. So they're collaborating. Egypt has been a major collaborator. Saudi Arabia has been a major collaborator. Some of Afghanistan and not only Afghanistan. Let me give you an example. Afghanistan has a nuclear weapon.
What?
Yeah, Afghanistan. Well, no, what's the other country over there?
Pakistan.
Pakistan. No, is it Pakistan? Right next to
India.
One of them they won't share it. I mean, if Lebanon and other parts of Palestinians had nuclear weapons, they wouldn't be getting attacked the way they're getting attacked.
No.
Let me pull up a map so we can look at that.
Yeah.
But go ahead, continue. Through. Brother Mshinda came back.
Yeah. How you doing, Mshinda? You on mute.
These people are crazy. They trying to annihilate all those people over there. This is straight out genocide.
They've been doing it. They've been doing it. But see, the struggle, the beauty is their resilience, regardless of what they've been through, how many people they've been lost, how many times they've been bombed and destroyed. They still fight, and
they're fighting for their lives.
Yeah, fighting for their liberation too.
They rather destroy those people than negotiate with them.
Okay.
Or try and live peacefully.
Yeah, Jordan, you got Jordan, Kuwait, United Emirates, Saudi Arabia.
Look how small Israel is.
Israel that's why they want land. Malcolm said that's what they want, more land. Their borders have expanded since 1956. You know, they keep going, getting bigger and bigger by killing. That's what they're doing in throughout the Palestinian territory,
Yeah,
taking the land.
they going north to Lebanon, messing them up.
What dissuaded them from taking land in Africa?
Because the central part of Africa they could never conquer, or in the southern areas and in those communities. And they colonized the main coast, the coast, the
West.
coastland. Yeah. You know, so, you know, you
And
look at
look how big Iraq is compared to and they over here, they shooting. Iraq is, man, this is
and that's what
wild.
I'm saying. Why are they not criticizing Iraq?
Get that.
And what's the deal with Syria?
The same thing. You know, but see, you got to understand that these people call themselves Jewish, but they're really white people. That's it.
Yeah,
And, you know,
Europeans.
they claim they're German. You German ethnically, and there's the Gaza Strip. Now they moved them people from the West Bank and other parts of Palestine, and they don't even have Palestine on the map.
No.
You know,
And it used to be
they call it
Palestine.
Jerusalem.
Yeah.
I mean Israel. Yeah, that's what they call it now.
But that strip.
Oh yeah, there's a Gaza Strip there.
Yeah,
Israel. Yeah, they try to think they can just erase the name now.
Well, that's what they get it from America. How America killed over 7 million Native Americans to get this land, put them on reservations. I mean, this is a practice of the European. But as I was saying,
something.
boats all up and down there, nuclear weapon boats and everything. So you're right, Rashaki, there's some intimidation. But, you know, like Maulana said, these are bloodlust people. They enjoy killing and bombing. You know, they be praying to God. And you see all the news people saying Israel is taking out their leaders and the Israeli people really supporting them going into Lebanon, getting rid of Hezbollah and Hamas, and then the Palestinians in the Gaza. I mean, they love it. They love it. They don't protest against it. Genocide been taking place way before now. You understand? People got to really recognize that. But because they control the media and the educational vehicles, they act like Israel being attacked. You know, and Israel just was formed in 1948. These people been living there for thousands of years. You understand? And how about God promised them a homeland? God ain't no real estate agent. You understand? You know.
Plus, they were Zionists anyway. They were Zionists who discovered Israel. They don't believe in no God.
Yeah, you know, I mean, what they turned God into a real estate agent? That don't even make sense. But anyway, the war, the whole purpose, you got bloodlust, land, they lead to World War III. That's what they did. And
walking into it.
Well, they're enjoying it. They got the most sophisticated weapons. That's how they beat the Native Americans. They came with iron and all kind of armament and guns and stuff. The Native Americans had bow and arrows, and you know, most of their stuff was used for hunting, not killing. And here come a man that built weapons to kill from his own experience in his own land of fighting each other. You understand what the whole European crusade was about. You understand? I mean, just look at their history. War with each other and war with the world. You know, and using God as a shield. You know, they hide behind God and accuse the Palestinians are hiding behind their citizenship, citizens, and that's why the citizens get killed. So you gotta look at it like that. Mshinda, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
My phone had died. I had to get back to power. Yeah,
But first of all, how are you doing?
man, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I won't have it any other way.
What's your take on the vice president debate and the war?
The vice president debate. Well, I did check. I did check some of it out. You know, I thought it was just a continuation of what's been talking about, what's been talked about in the media. For the since the all the candidates have dropped their name in the hat, and everything leading up to the election. I think JD Vance, he's committed to Trump, and he wouldn't bend from, he wouldn't go against anything, because of course, prior to him being selected as vice president, as a running mate, he mentioned, he called Trump all kind of names, and said that he was, basically the devil in so many words, but now, he's the best thing, like they say, since sliced bread, or whatever, you want to say, since a shrimp po' boy, So at the end of the day, and then the other dude, Mr. Waltz, he's has showing allegiance to the Democratic Party and Kamala Harris, and that type of thing. He seems like, like I say, uh, we can find fault in anything, but at the end of the day, I'm looking at somebody that appears to be sane. Talking about Tim Waltz, a sane individual who, I mean, compared to the other guys are just really, they out there, they got problems, and I don't want to even elaborate on that. It's a lot of issues going on in the Trump camp, just by what they're talking about, and some of the things that are coming out of their mouths is just, it's beyond ridiculous. Again, the other, Tim Walz, it's politics as usual. We all have to put our agendas up there and our policies, and then you vote, and then may the best person win. But this is a different election. I've never seen anything like it. Especially what I'm hearing out of the Trump camp. The things that come out of their mouths and things like that. It's like a blatant disregard for humanity or whatever. They're just saying anything. But you got millions of people who are backing them, and that's the scary part. Is that you got millions of people who support them. So that tells you what kind of people that's living around us. That's in the vicinity, or that's in the same country that we live in. So I don't know. It's anyway. But as far as the debate, who won or anything like that, I think they both held their own, as far as their agendas. So I'm gonna leave it at that, just leave it at that. And the other question was about the what now?
The war in
Israel,
Lebanon.
Lebanon. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, again, that song has been played many times. It's like a old standard, being replayed and sung by somebody else. Israel. When I was a kid, I used to listen to the news, KFWB,
Mm-hmm.
KNX News. I used to listen to the news. I was probably like maybe 13, 14 years old, and I used to listen to the news. And that's the first time I ever heard of Beirut. So this is nothing new under the sun. The United States has been defending Beirut. They've been been defending Israel. I said in previous podcasts that Israel is a military base. It financed by NATO and the United States and so forth. They have nuclear bombs over there. It's just, they want to say it's a democracy over there. I was listening to brother, was it Ta-Nehisi Coates, who went over there and was on the Gaza Strip and all that. And he's got a new book out, but the brother went over there firsthand. He's a journalist, a writer, professor at Howard University. And he was talking about that the racism. He said it's over there, like how people are treated. He said it's like Jim Crow over there. He said it's unbelievable. So he said, like, in other words, something that we supposed to support. Something that's supposed to be a democracy. They said, well, they have court hearings and they have elections and things like that. Well, they had that during Jim Crow. They had elections and court hearings back then. So he's comparing that what he saw over in that region of the world is like it's like Jim Crow, like the Jim Crow era in the United States. And so nothing new under the sun. It's defending what they believe in, and it's basically, like to say, control resources. Number one, it's all about resources. It's about oil, gold, whatever. It's about natural resources, and also controlling human beings, which is probably the most powerful resource on the planet, is to control people and to enslave people. And but it's a military base over there in a little small area with a bunch of missiles and things like that, but strategically located in that region of the world to keep everybody else at bay. Whether it be Iraq, Iran, Syria. Russia is in Iraq. I mean, Iran. Russia's in Syria, and they have installations. They have things going on over there. So that's the tricky part. That's where I heard somebody talk about WW3. Yeah, that's the tricky part. So it's you get to blowing up the wrong stuff. It might be a greater problem. As far as a greater war, that kind of thing. So, again, hopefully they calm down like they do at some point. We'll be reading something else or looking at something else in the news about some other area. But right now it's a hot topic. We got election year. So, what more to have, front and center during an election year than having a war, They talk about the economy, back to the debate, the economy. But the thing about it is the numbers don't lie, the numbers are coming out. And again, people say, well, numbers and stats can be skewed, which they can. But what I'm saying is the numbers that everybody rely on, whether it's the jobless rate, the Federal Reserve just dropped dropped it 50 basis points, 0.50 interest rates. They just dropped the interest rate for the for the, I guess, the they got the Treasury bill, 30-year Treasury bill, the 10-year Treasury bill, which is connected to the real estate. So overall, money is getting cheaper to loan. And so that means that the economy is doing better, and they say, well, the prices of bread and eggs and all that is still kind of high, still up there, which is true. But overall, the numbers are coming in. The stock market hasn't crashed. Everything is doing fine. It's according to the people that everybody rely on. So it's a lot of propaganda out there. And at the end of the day, though, all I can say is just cast your vote. Be careful out there, and that's all I can say. Anyway. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mshinda, you're right. Prices go up. Major corporations who are the wholesalers, they got the tax breaks, and Pamela and them are inviting them, trying to take them away. So a lot of the price gouging some think it's political because they know that if prices go up, people get angry and they vote against the administration. Some people theorize that. I don't know how accurate it is, but it seems like that way because they get the big, they were the ones that got the big tax breaks. And we look at this issue, and it's a challenge from the standpoint of us really looking beyond that. And plus, Trump lies about everything. And he lies about his administration economic progress. He lost more jobs. They had the biggest deficit, but nobody's really focusing on challenging him when he said, when I was in office, everything was beautiful. Everybody was happy, and we were making money, and my tariffs worked, and to prove that they worked, Biden didn't get rid of all of them. So, I mean, it's a challenge from the standpoint to see the conspiracy, not the conspiracy, but the collaboration of prices going up when it's election time or the year of the election. But prices always go up. I mean, like we said this before. We remember, like the song say, a nickel with a fare could take you anywhere, and a penny could get you plenty. But now, $100 is like $10. With regards to the interest rates, the deflation of the dollar. I mean, it's not worth a dollar. Is not worth a dollar. I mean, it don't even make sense. So we look at these issues, and we try to understand, because even Walls in the debate, he wasn't as strong as many people thought he should be. They were come out, I agree with you, I agree with you, I agree with you, each of them. And he asked the one question, did Trump lose the election? And the guy wouldn't answer it. But that's not the point. The point is that there's other issues that that he could have got Vance on. Like, he wrote the prefix to the Project 25. And they didn't bring that up during the debate. And second, he didn't say, well, look, vice presidents have to do with the president. Kamala Harris for all of that, But anyway, that's the struggle, is right. Now, as far as the war, America be talking about they don't want to be dragged in. They're already in it. They're providing information. They're providing weapons. They're providing. They're attacking Israel enemies or perceived enemies. The Houthis. They're attacking. They're not standing up to the genocide. And they act like, well, we're not involved. How can you say that? And so there's a struggle as far as educating the people when they control it. Like, let me give you an example. October 6th, 7th was they were celebrating the loss of the 1,200 killed people allegedly attack on Israel. Every station, as Ahi was pointing out, every station all day was talking about following the parades, following the celebrations and recognitions and memorials for those that's captive and those that died. Not one mention. I mean, Kamala Harris planted a tree, Waltz went somewhere. The only people that stood up and spoke for the genocide were college students on college campuses. They took a hard line position on that as far as recognizing genocide, and they didn't cover it that much. You understand? They did not cover the demonstrations at UCLA and SC, recognizing the many thousands of deaths that Palestinians have suffered during the Gaza war and things of that nature, and the genocide. You see, that's that manipulation of the media that I was talking about. And he put it in words of kindness. We know some people control it, but we know exactly who do it. White people who claim to be Jews. You understand? I mean, that's what they have in common. Rashiki, you have a comment?
Not really. I've been listening to a lot of news. Oh, well, I listen to Democracy Now! Because they actually have people, they have journalists in Gaza that reports out, and it's like day and night with the media, that you would listen to, like CEN and Fox or whoever. So I can't. I look at. This is really appalling, and then I don't see how people can't see the simplicity of what's going on. When you say that you want a ceasefire or you working on a ceasefire, but you steady putting fuel in the fire to keep the fire going, giving Israel money, and you giving them weapons, and you helping them intercept, like you were saying, they were when rockets was shot from Iraq, they were assisted in, intercepting
Iran.
those rockets. Iran. Yeah, Iran. And so it's really a contradiction when you could say that in one sentence, that you want to support Israel and they can defend themselves. But then you say in another breath, we want a ceasefire. It doesn't, it's like, how illiterate are do people, it's like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? That don't even make sense. So it's just appalling to see what's going on and all of the propaganda and what do you believe? During the debate, I watched the debate. What was true if you don't do fact finding? And then is the fact finding true? It's just, we live in some mess. That's all. It's really messy. And I'm really just listening because
First of all,
I'm lost when it comes to a lot of the information, because you get information over here, then you get information over there. Which one is true? It's appalling.
You can see it because Biden has challenged Israel, and Netanyahu do what he want to do, embarrassing. But I think that's all a fake move. As long as Biden is talking and not doing, who pay attention to talking more? You shouldn't be bombing citizens. Israel's not telling us their moves. That's an embarrassment to admit, but it also could be a part of their game of being complacent by not doing anything when Israel do the things it do that you ask them not to do. You understand? And all that stuff about not giving them bombs and things of that nature. But at the same time, they're dropping the same 2,000 bombs in Lebanon, leaving big craters. Got people living in the street, telling them to evacuate. And America's not even criticizing them. for creating another humanitarian crisis. You understand? It's the whole game of, you know, throwing a rock and hiding your hand and acting like you didn't throw the rock. America is just as complacent. Every major news, unbiased news outlet says that America is complacent. Why? Because they're white people, and they're white people. They love killing. They get orgasm off of killing. I mean, just look at it. How they're pronouncing it. Well, we assassinated their leaders. What kind of people brag about assassinating people? They call them terrorists to justify killing heads of state. They don't recognize them as a government. And so they say you're terrorists because in the Geneva Convention and rules of war, you ain't supposed to target the leaders of the country or the leaders of the military. And they're doing it right out in front. And how do they justify it? Oh, they're a terrorist group. That's what they used to call Malcolm and us black activists in the 60s. They used to call us militants. I don't know if y'all remember that. The black militants, and then the resistance in South Africa, they called the South Africans resisting guerrillas. It's the demeaning when you have. Now, they don't really need to do all that because they're people who are not speaking out against it. It's collaborating, and then they blame the ones that speak out. Are they socialists and communists? You have a comment?
I do not. I'm listening, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm just like with Rashaki. It's like I'm not so puzzled as to why people aren't questioning it, because we're poorly educated here in America. And it's not only the African diaspora, but these Europeans too. They're so stupid they going for Trump. That's nothing but ignorance. And here we are, like you, as you forestated, marching on to World War III willingly. It's amazing to be in these times. It's unbelievable.
What's the title of Duval's book? Conspiracy of Silence.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, so I could see the correlation there, and I mean you hit it on the nail on the head, Professor Rahh. They just love killing. They don't have an affinity for life.
No. Not only do they kill humans, they kill the environment and then say they ain't doing it. I mean, glaciers are melting, ocean, more storms, more wildfires, more uncontrollable fires, more, seasons, changing seasons, the atmosphere, fish jumping out the ocean. I mean, whales and beaching themselves. And they say, oh, that's nature. And even if it is climate change, that's a part of nature. It ain't a part of us drilling for oil and all the cars we got on the street and all the jets we got flying, killing the ozone. That's not that. Even though I don't care. As long as I can live rich today. That's why New Jack City was such inspiration to young people. I don't care if I die young, as long as I die rich. You understand? I don't care if I don't care if I kill the environment and who I got to kill to live rich. You understand? Here's the Menendez brothers killed their mom and daddy for inheritance. I mean, shotgun them, tried to make it look like, they just, man, they got a movie, throw your mama off the train. You understand? I mean, they always making scary movies. The #1 movies are the ones that win all the Grammys, most Godfather, French Connection. It's always about murder. You understand?
Yeah.
I remember coming by the drive-in, and there was 3 movies playing: Kill or Be Killed, Kill, Kill, and then Kill, Kill, and Kill Again. Those were the 3 movies. You understand? I said, damn. You understand? You know, you get mad at the young people killing. Well, who they get it from?
Now, you know, the Nation of Islam says call people, devil.
Yeah, doers of evil.
Call it like you see it.
And it's like all any description of a devil, the criteria is met, and then they get mad because you call them that. It's just
and it burns
crazy.
them up too, man. It burns them up. They can't take it. It's like you hit them with a big stone when you call them a devil. They can take anything else, but don't call them a devil.
But they call it, they'll turn around and call their kids, you little devil. I mean, they know who they are. Call their kids, you little devil, you stop that.
They can't take that.
Yeah, and they can't stand being called a racist. You understand? But racists come in different forms. There are ones that's acting it out violently. There's one that's talking it. And there's one that just sit back and let it happen and take and accept the benefits. You understand? They benefit from white privilege. You understand? They always have. And then they act like, oh, I'm against racism. They go to give money to NAACP and all the black groups, and they go to church, and then they go to the Klan meeting that night, and then they assassinate our black leaders, and then come out in the news and say the whole world needs to hang their head in shame, and they're the ones that did it. You understand? I mean, it's and it's well documented. This is not something that we just making up. This is something we see. But as Rahh people, the conspiracy of silence is not only the silence of the white people, but many blacks in the collaborating. Like we always say, Uncle Tom is big money. Ask Clarence Thomas. Ask Clarence Thomas. Ask any of the black people that side with white folks. They make big money, man. They always have. You understand? That brother that's running in North Carolina or South Carolina, who's talking crazy. I forget his name. He they give him big
sex
money.
fiend.
Yeah, the one that is running for senator.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a nutcase. But people voting for him. 70 million people voted for Trump. After after he said he can grab women between their legs. After he over 250 women accused him of sexual abuse. After he said you can take aerospray and spray put a light in you to get rid of COVID. You understand? and use disinfect. The way we can shoot disinfectant. I mean, and they vote for him. And then they want to know why we say, "Oh, y'all nuts."
Evangelicals watch him hold the Bible upside down and mispronounce one of the books in it, and still backing.
Yeah, because they really ain't evangelicals.
Nah, they ain't.
Hustle, make white folks think there's a heaven. You understand? And they're gonna go to it despite God forgive you for all your sins, even up on your deathbed. If you just accept Him as your Lord and Savior, He'll forgive you, and you can get in. You understand? I mean, it's wild, man. As y'all point out, it's totally insanity. So we look at this struggle, this continued struggle, and It's one in which we have to recognize. See, that's what Black consciousness is about. To shape them. They say, "Oh, y'all just trying to brainwash us." Yeah, your brain need washing. You understand? And because you ain't acting out what you see and what you hear. I mean, there's a brother, a Muslim brother, used to be an imam, used to follow Nation of Islam. He said, I'm dedicated to Trump. I said, why? Because he ain't never done nothing to me. And I like his economic policy. You understand? And I believe that everything they're saying about him, they're making it up. I say, oh man, I don't even argue with them. You understand? I just mark them. Yeah, they need to be told be on a watch. They need to be watched. You understand? Because that is a very, and this guy grew up in the hood, grew up in the streets. You understand? He was always strange because he's smart. He was an attorney. He traveled to Africa 3 and 4 times, but he's hard on his people, man. They just don't want to work. They just don't want. Not that they get discriminated against. not that if you try. Go ahead.
Professor Rahh, Mshinda raised his hand.
Go ahead, Mshinda.
No, I'm just, all in all, man, they are who they are. It's just that, when you look at, the brother, the brothers and sisters in this country, it's the level of ignorance, sleep, all that. I deal with people every day. If you look at it like a math problem, it's a given that they gonna do what they do. They're well documented in history. You can look at every story in history, and it's not too many positive outcomes. You mentioned the Native Americans. You talk about the Israels. You talk, the so-called Jews over there. We could talk about every war in history that we know about, that's documented, that has been presented. It's a given that what they're doing. But the unfortunate thing is, we got the ones that have sold their soul to the devil. The ones like the brother over there that's running for governor in North Carolina, Mark Richardson. You got Uncle Tim Scott. You got, and to name other few, these Uncle Clarence Thomas, those kind of folks who are headlined, who are put in the media to say, to represent the Black people, but it's a front, and they've negotiated their soul, for plane rides and rich people's planes and things like that, and to be accepted. If you look at all of the guys, that support Trump, if you go back to the Republican convention, and again, nothing's absolute. Even Mark Richardson, I think he has a Black wife, but other than that, and again, it's not, don't get me wrong, if you were married to a white woman or something like that, that ain't what I'm talking about. Because at the end of the day, that don't matter either, to a certain degree. If that ain't, but the point I'm making is they're making it a point, it adds to their position. And so if you look at most of the guys that spoke at the Republican convention, they all married to the white women, but it's intentional. It's a that it's part of their breeding. It's part of their philosophy. Now if you fall in love with somebody, you do what you want to do. See, that's the other side of that coin. But if you think that this is where it's at, that in order for me to catapult in life, and for me to so I got to fraternize and associate with certain things, and you have limitations on what you do, and a lot of them, I believe, that's what that's all about. Clarence Thomas, and the rest of them. So it's a far gone conclusion that it's a given that they're going to do what they do. It's just that what's happening with us. I had a nephew left. He left here about an hour ago, and he pulled up for one reason. He registered to vote. Okay, he came. He said, "Hey, I need you to." He got off work. He pulled up. He said, "I'm about to pull up right now." We went online, and he registered to vote for the probably for the first time in his life. And he ain't 18 years old. He's like 40 something. So he never participated in nothing like that. And that's who he's been. But he's come around. He's feeling better, good about himself, and he's like, hey, I need to be more civic minded and things like that. But these are the seeds that we're planting out here, trying to elevate people's consciousness, kind of what we're doing on this show, trying to put it out there and so forth. But at the end of the day, you know, the statistical cross sample that I have witnessed over the last several years, meaning that the people that I come in contact that look like us, man, and in particular the younger ones. The older ones are burnt out. The older ones are burnt out. They're raising they, now they're raising they're raising great grandchildren and grandchildren and stuff like that. Children that have gotten, that are matriculating through life, that are becoming 50, 10, 11, 12, 15, 22 years old. It's only so much energy can go into those grandkids. It ain't like, grandma's tired. Okay. But so she's keeping food in their stomach, keeping a roof over their head, and maybe going to a couple of PTA meetings and a couple of little league baseball games. That's it. But as far as like, so I mean, I applaud that because they can be in the streets. So a lot of these kids are being raised by the streets, and so this is our voting base. This is what's becoming our voting base, it's I'm looking at an election. We had a gubernatorial election that the governor got in January. You heard me talk about this governor. It was like a 29% voter turnout. 29%. The guy was supposed to be in a runoff because Louisiana, Mississippi, they got black people. You got some black people that live in these states. But, when it comes to being conscious, politically conscious, civic minded, or just look, it's not about like, hey, I vote. I didn't vote at some point in my life. I was, talking about militant, I was a revolutionary where, like I ain't got time to part. I'm like Brother Chihuahua on that, like I don't listen. I'm trying to, I'm on another agenda. But then I said, these local elections are very important because we complain about these school boards, these school systems, and all these other things. So I said, you know what, I have to concede, and I have to partake in it. I have to do my part. So anyway, all I'm saying is, we are our own worst enemy when it comes to not participating in the process. Whatever the process is, if you don't want to vote, that's fine. If you say, yeah, I'm not going to vote, but are you going to protest? Are you going to boycott something? Are you gonna be active? Are you going to be politically active in terms of like trying to make change? So it's all about resources and the tax, where the tax dollars going. So when they cut up the pie, and that school district over there is getting bare minimum, and over there these schools are getting more. Who's arguing the point? Everybody's paying taxes, but we're not even politically inclined. So that's the struggle. That's one of the major parts of the struggle. We could talk about them all day, but that's a given. What they're doing, it's not baffling to me at all. I see them from a mile. I understand why they're doing what they're doing. I understand it because if you look at all of the developed European countries in the world, their population is diminishing. They're uh they're coming they're they're knocking 0% birth rate in the head. Okay, they're not having babies, and so that when you don't have when in other words, when you are losing your population, you're going to lose your control. But it's just in the middle of it. We're living in those times where we're watching them decline. And so it's like I used to say, last in the party, when you're at the party, last call for alcohol. This is their last call. They go, this is their last call. They're trying to hang on for dear life. And so that's they're trying, Hitler, they like to say Hitler was a genius, and I don't say that like, oh, like I support Hitler or what they say, but Hitler was saying, hey, if we can exterminate these guys and enslave these guys and kill off these guys, we'll keep our supremacy. That's what it was all about. But he got stopped, which was good. Don't get me wrong, was excellent. Stop this fool. But now you got this dude here, and you got Putin, you got this Trump guy, and they talking about Project 2025. Hey, it's a high level, it's a high tech way to lynch you. It's a high tech lynching. Project 2025. They talking about revamping the criminal justice system, the tax code, the everything, revamping everything, and so it's going to be artificial intelligence. Everything is going to keep us. It's going to set us back further and further. You think we're 29% voter turnout now. We ain't gonna have no turnout if we don't pick it up and understand this. So I'm constantly on a day-to-day basis having these conversations and challenging these young brothers and sisters. Hey, you need to pay attention to what's going on and then make a decision. You know, but that's what's up. We got population. We have voter. We have voting blocks and things like that in our own communities. But we got that Mark Robinson mentality. That guy that's running for North Carolina governor. A lot of them have that mentality where they feel that, oh, I want to be independent. I'm voting for this. I'm voting for that. They just, they showing out just to be accepted, that kind of thing, But we need to get ourselves together. That's what I'm working on a daily basis. It's a given that these folks are going to do what they do. That's all I'm saying. And
Yeah,
most people, go ahead.
What people forget is the lingering effects of oppression. It takes, especially when you have parents that continue the practices of apathy and disengagement and just, hey, I just want to be left alone. I don't want to get involved in nothing. Like you said, it was not just Black activists that didn't vote. There are many Black people that don't vote. A lot of the people you're talking about, they're not activists, they just disengage. And oppression does that to people. The psychological and cultural destruction, to them, voting is participating in your own oppression. And even though it's really a method of, we have a political struggle without and a cultural struggle within. Some catch it like yourself, you think that we would have more people that are activists, but we don't. Being Black conscious is a lonely road, brother. A lonely road. You tell people, hey man, you ought to check out the podcast. You ought to come in. Man, they'd rather watch a football game or some of them rather play Nintendo with their kids than to get the news. You understand? That's what oppression do, and it's a byproduct of oppression. I'm not saying that some are not willing, they just disengage, even though they're conscious. Like you said, you was a conscious brother and didn't feel like voting. So those things happen. But you came to reality that you had to fight on all fronts, like Malcolm said. The political one from without and the culture one within. But there is progress, or we wouldn't even have this show. There is progress, because our people used to get killed for just thinking. What we talking about? Just if they look at you and say, yeah, they just walk down the street and say, we're going to have a lynching. You understand? We didn't stop a lot of that. And we stopped a lot of other forms of oppression. But the emotional and psychological aspect of sending our kids to their schools is okay. If you're schooling them at home too, of consciousness and what their role is. And that's the problem in many ways. You know, you got young men that don't want to be married, don't want to raise their kids consciously, you know. They take their kids to Magic Mountain and Disneyland, but won't take them to an educational form. Those things happen. But go ahead, Rashaki. Unless somebody have other comments or questions they want to raise, we can close
You know,
out.
I remember
Go ahead.
the first time I voted against Reagan. There used to be a time in
that
this
was
country.
In the 80s then. That was in the 80s.
Right. He was running against Carter. Yeah. Carter was running for a second term. There used to be a time when you could not put anything on TV that wasn't factual. It had to be proven factual for you to put it on TV. You could, and especially couldn't knowingly tell a lie and put it on TV. When Reagan got in office, he changed all that. I believe that was one of the variables in the equation of false information being put out there. People start playing these games and putting out false information and playing like it's factual. That, along with our educational system. Detroit, our high schools, when I was in high school, we used to put out every kind of profession there was. Yeah, every high school. We had one of the top educational school systems in the country. Now we're at the bottom, the very last. This is all by plan, you know, with this charter school stuff. But we have to learn how to play the game. The Nation of Islam, they're able to get a charter school and can't nobody tell them what to teach. And they're getting public funds with this. Catholic schools, it basically saved the Catholic schools in the Detroit area. They were closing, a lack of parishioners, and church members and people not being able to afford sending their children to parochial schools. So we can, with African-centered schools, get this money and still get the message out there. Because without education, we're going to continue to do like what we did with this guy Biden. Nobody looked at the agenda. Nobody looked at his agenda and him being able to get things done. They was concerned about aesthetics. All of a sudden, you get Kamala Harris in there with basically the same agenda, except she wants to be more family friendly, and everything just, you know, cult of personality type of deal. I believe that's kind of working against us. We cannot look beneath the surface and see something for what it is. We're caught all up once again on perception. That's all I have to say about that.
That's heavy. It's a good analysis. That's strong. Rashaki, what's going on tomorrow?
We got Dr. Inky Real coming back, and the topic is holiday holiday meals. Let me. I'm a little tired here. Let me look at this Okay. Holiday Health. Holiday Health. And that's
Okay.
tomorrow.
Before we go, I wanted to say one thing. We got to give respect and give homage to Brother John Amos, who made his transition, who played on Good Times. Strong brother, who walked off the show. And they tried to say that maybe he was critical of the show for making JJ the main character. And he said it should be more, dignified. He was a former football player as well as in the military. And he was a brother that took a stand on acting in theater. And we need to recognize and appreciate his contribution in serving as a role model to emulate for other actors to speak out against demeaning roles that Black people had. Esther Rosie did the same thing, because when they first started Good Times, they didn't have a father. And she said, well, where's the daddy? Norman Lear. And that's how John Amos got the job. And, and he would argue with the writers, because there was no Black writer on Good Times. Norman Lear made all the Black sitcoms, but during that era, good Archie Bunker, all of them. And he stereotyped many of the Black people. So, I remember they had that movie, A Different Strokes, about a white man adopting Black kids and showing them a good life, making other kids think that that's their answer. The subliminal suggestion of TV, people don't look at it as an educational tool, but many of us develop roles in our lives to emulate what we see on TV. You see brothers wearing Godfather hats and thinking that they're gangsters that they see on TV. You see brothers treating their women the way white men treat their women, beat them, slap them, and then screw them and kiss them, and then everything is made up, all kind of violence. I mean, you'd be surprised at the miseducation. Know what I'm saying? And you have to educate your children on what they're looking at and tell them, don't let that be part of your personality. Bullying, using drugs. Our parents started smoking because they saw people on TV smoking. I mean, it's just you'd be surprised at the influence it has. And it's because we don't counter it, as Francis Chris Wilson says in Neely Fuller with their counter racism culture. But we forget the little things that we take for granted that influence us, that we don't think is influencing us. And you got to be conscious. Sometimes we have to go on television fast. You see all these commercials about lawyers begging you to get in an accident and call them. You see all these prescription drugs, and when they list off the side effects, it make you say, I ain't taking that stuff. You understand? If your tongue gets thick, if you have problem breathing, even if you die, call your doctor. What the hell is that? You understand? So we got a long way to go, as far as when we talk about miseducation. But the big miseducation is the lack of education in the home. And then the rebellious aspect of our children through our education. They want to do their own thing. Tattoos, just thinking they Beyonce can't sing. It's just rough, But we're still doing good as far as some people are growing up with consciousness. And some people are growing up like in Palestine, no matter how many people they kill. Other generations come up. Because where there's oppression, psychological, physical, spiritual. There's going to always be a liberation movement. So we'll be here tomorrow to see about the holiday eating, which a lot of people, it's a rare family that don't get 10 pounds of chitlins on New Year's. You understand? And so you can talk all your stuff and 4 bottles of hot sauce. You understand? I mean, to go with it. And so that's just the way it goes. I mean, I don't eat, but you'd be surprised at the people in the South and the people that from the South, that's their mission. Yeah. I mean, you used to go in the store and you see pig feet, pig ears, pig, pig feet. You understand? Hog head cheese. I mean, what the hell going on? But and people lining up to get it. A big jar in front of the store on the counter, with a big foot looking at you. I mean, and people don't think they're eating the animal.
Hey,
Yeah. But
here
anyway,
in Detroit, just if I could just interject, but here in Detroit, we got Eastern Market, and this is like the central point where the food comes up into Detroit and we ship it out throughout the state. And my cousin was telling me a story about at the butcher shop when they would discard the guts and the chitlins and stuff in the garbage dumpsters. Black people would go and start going into the garbage dumpsters to get these chitlins.
Oh wow!
And then what they, yeah, and they found out, and the owners were asking questions. When these people that jumping in all the hog guts and all this kind of stuff, and that's when they started selling chitlins around here in Detroit, and that was in the like around the 40s.
Oh man, you'd be surprised what people eat around the world. In Istanbul, they eat rats. They hunt rats. You understand? And eat them.
Oh yeah, the field mice with the rice. They eat and they said it's supposed to be pretty good.
And some people eat bats in China. You understand?
Hey, Mexicans eat donkey dick.
Yeah. So man, and you don't know what you're eating. That's why they call it ground round. What the hell is in ground round beef? They grind it up, whatever's in there. But anyway, let's tune in tomorrow and see about holiday eating. All right, Rashiki.
All right.
All right. Take us on home.
Conscious Corner, each one teach one.
All right, brother.
I'll see y'all later.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, okay. You take